parthenocarpic line of cucumbers. They're quite large, and I've got them planted in that's about 3 foot little bit of cage there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around the cage. Each wrap is 3 feet, so this will be fun to do in a very tight space. This cucumber is a dehybridization of Sweet Success, and there's 2 in there, and it's an awesome. The selections I've made for I think 4 generations now have led to a very, very tasty offshoot, I guess you would, of Sweet Success. But it's going to be really interesting to grow it in such a tight space and see what we can get out of it, because the cucumbers themselves can get up 10 to 12 inches long and still be, just right for eating. So there's 2 cucumber plants in here, and this is what they look like now. They both look very healthy, and you can see here where let me turn it. It had come through here, and I started clamping it to the outside of the cage, and then I clamped it here at the tip, and now it's growing back straight up. When this gets long enough, I'll bend it back down and clamp it around, and we'll continue to go around. This one here is similar. It's come up here, clamped it here, it's growing up, and so this one I will put in the same direction, and so they will both be going counterclockwise around the cage. It'll be interesting to see how they produce going around that short of a cage. I've done them in taller cages before, and they work great. But this is a shorter cage, and the reason why I'm using a shorter cage is so that I can get to the tomatoes behind it. And if this works well, I'm probably going to put a shorter cage on this watermelon here too, and we'll see how that goes. In fact, I think I'm going to do that right after I get through videoing here. See, the cucumbers are starting to form, which is good. I pulled it out of its location because they're right next to each other growing. This cucumber, for example, is right next to the melon growing right here. And this is wrapped around at least once. It's kind of hard to make out because the 2 plants, the stems are kind of intermingled, but I know it's at least wrapped around one time, so it's over 3 foot tall. And I can see this one here, and one back over there. This one's starting to flower, and this one here is starting to flower. One back over there. So I've learned in the past that these don't really put on, once they start growing, like say this one starts growing, it doesn't, from the same plant, it'll only grow like 2 at a time until you take it, and then it'll start growing the others. They're a little further behind. But that's why I planted 2 plants in here, so that I can keep the cucumbers a coming. So here the older stems here, especially the ones that are producing leaves that are outside the cage, I've cut those off, and I've learned also that when you remove older leaves, the plant responds. It gets more aggressive towards fruiting and growing, I think, too. And also the older leaves, they're getting old, they're not as efficient, so it's good to trim. But you can see here, I'm really enjoying this grow so far. It's a very small platform. It's only 3 foot tall, only 12 inches wide, or maybe even a little bit less. And so yeah, I'm just going to grow long vining tomatoes by wrapping it around the cage. I just noticed that this one was separated. I just put it on there. But I used tomato clips to keep it close to the cage, but I reuse them as I go around. So I've used this one originally for the one behind it, the vine behind it, and then I reused it when I got back to here, and that saves me clips. And the main thing is it's keeping the plant close to the cage. And I also remove not just the leaves, but I also remove the tendrils. because the tendrils can get caught on anything in the room. They're really long. Anyway, I'll bring you back. They're getting longer. You can see it there. Quite a bit longer. Over here it looks like one's getting pretty good too here. Cucumbers are getting larger. That one. And over here as well. This one. And the one underneath it. And it looks like maybe even those over there. So, looking forward to it. Quick update on the cucumber. It's getting longer, bigger. Same with this one back here. And probably a couple others over there a little further. So I expect cucumbers in a couple, 3 days. I'm going to harvest this one today. I'll take a measure on that. It's pretty long. And then after that, we're going to set this up for success. Again, I've got one, let me turn this, so a little bit misshapen one here. I'm going to go ahead and take, so the one next to it can continue to grow. Between, I don't know which plant, there's 2 plants in here. So I'm going to take this one and the misshapen one there, and then this one over here, golly, you can see it's long and skinny. That will begin to fatten up. Now you can probably see a lot of areas of withered small fruit, and that's going to happen because these, the plant thinks it's done its job. So after I remove the bigger cucumbers, those other ones will start coming on now. They will, the little babies will think that, or the plant will think that that these didn't do their job, and then it'll start generating more cucumbers. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take off some of the older leaves and finish wrapping it around. Let's see, I've got a vine here that needs to be staked up around the cage, and so that's what we're going to do. So this is the example I harvested. It is just under 12 inches. And you can see some wrinkles here. And when I grow them during the summer, they fill out where they're not wrinkly, kind of like the end here. And it would be longer even. But these are so good. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to take the best of the 2 plants and I'm going to cut them on every node and root them, and then I will change the sex of a couple of them so I can breed it back to itself, and that will become the next generation. But for now, I'm just going to eat the dang things because they taste so good. That's the cucumber. Looks like we already got another one not long before it's there. This is already grown up and needs to be wrapped. Everything's looking good. We'll continue with it and see what happens.